Georgia, Alabama, we know what the AP poll says, but really, who's the better team? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. He is Daniel, I am Clint. Together, the confluence of this is a whole bunch of people. By a whole bunch, we mean ourselves representing you all, talking about them dogs. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, FanDuel.com. Get over there right now. Get in on FanDuel. It's so much more fun. More on them in a second. Today, we are talking about how do we actually know who the better team is? Because we can talk, we can gesticulate numbers all day long. But at the end of the day, Daniel, it has to be some context and some meaning. Otherwise, you puff up on a no-star walk-on from a Nickelodeon caricature playing against your team, and you think you big and bad until you realize you're playing Sam Houston. You spineless freaks at Texas. You're the worst of us.
I cannot wait for the Texas week, Clint. We got too much to do. It's Alabama week.
Okay.
My friend Blake is listening all week this week, and so it's a big week of shows.
Blake, how you doing, bro?
He's not doing great, I'll tell you that. But it's Alabama week, and we're talking about this matchup. It's obviously marquee matchup. It would be a bigger matchup if Alabama had not gone out and defecated on themselves to Florida State earlier in the season. But seems as though Alabama's bounced back after that, kind of righted the ship. And I mentioned in the open, if you look at the AP poll, obviously Alabama still in a bit of a free fall. They were on a bye week last week and absolutely getting housed in the AP poll. They're down to 17th in the country. Georgia staying locked in there at number 5 in the country. And so you were to look at that, you look at Georgia, the home team, number 5. You look at Alabama, the road team, number 17. You think, well, there's a pretty big disparity between these two teams. And so that kind of tells you everything that you need to know. Rankings are not power ratings. This is kind of the informational piece of this episode. And so power ratings are, as best as someone is able, a metric of how good a team actually is. Whereas a ranking is a metric of how that team has performed this season. Obviously, Alabama taken an L, and the best team that they've beaten so far is Wisconsin, who just got taken to the woodshed by Maryland this weekend. No. So that's not a quality win.
No.
So hard to have Alabama ranked super high. But if you look at these power ratings, Clint, what you find is that Georgia and Alabama are thought by the experts, and we'll just get out ahead of this. Experts are wrong all the time.
All the time.
Clemson was rated extremely high in most of the power ratings coming into the season.
Wild.
They're not good, is what we know about Clemson.
His name's Fran Brown, and he can recruit the Northeast from South Carolina. I'm just letting you know this right now.
Yeah. So, but by the way, Clemson still rated in like one notable power rating system. Okay.
Which is ludicrous.
Clemson rated 28th in the country. Syracuse rated 62nd in the country.
Oh, no.
Okay. The way that these power ratings work is that based on this, on a neutral field, the idea would be that Clemson would blow out Syracuse. But see, what happened is on a non-neutral field,
what happened?
In the upstate, the opposite thing happened. Syracuse blew out Clemson. So
Yeah.
Not always a great indicator, but generally speaking, they're more geared towards how good the teams actually are. What I'm trying to tell you is that in all these power ratings, there's S&P plus, there's F plus, there's FEI, there's all the ESPN's got their the ESPN's is the S&P plus.
Yep.
Everybody's FPI. There's all these different rating systems, and if you look at all of them have Georgia and Alabama right near each other in these ratings. I'm looking at one. It's got Alabama number 3. It's got Georgia number 5. I'm looking at another one. It's got Georgia number 3. It's got Alabama number 4. I'm looking at another one. It's got Alabama number 4. It's got Georgia number 9. So all of these systems, Clint, they've got these two teams as being very similar in terms of how talented the rosters are and how good the teams should be expected to perform. My first question to you is, are you buying that? Do you think that that is true based on Clint's power ratings? Do you have Alabama and Georgia as comparable, if not very similar teams?
I think what this is showing here, let me answer this quickly and then caveats.
Okay.
No.
You do not have Georgia and Alabama as similar teams.
Georgia and Alabama are not as similar as people are making them to be. Not neck and neck, side by side. Okay. This is my problem with this. Now, what you're seeing, and the reason why is because of the old head coach that we're seeing over in Alabama. He's not good. He doesn't produce a good, effective game plan and doesn't develop players. What you're seeing, however, is the carryover of talent. If you're talking to me about just a 11 on 11 heading out to the field and playing some ball against each other, yeah, these two teams are similar. As a matter of fact, the style of play they try to do, Daniel, and what they're trying to accomplish and the things they're good at this year are similar.
Yeah.
But if you're talking to me about the team composition, top to bottom,
yeah,
if you were to survey 100 people and you were to say Alabama and Georgia are going to play 100 times, who do you think is going to come out on top? Of those 100 people, a vast majority would not get close to 51-49, 52-48. That's not what people would say. Georgia likely is my guess. 60, 65 out of 100 times they're going to come out and win this game simulated of the people that you ask. That's
on a neutral site.
On a neutral site. On a neutral site. Daniel, yes.
I disagree with you.
You think 100 people surveyed?
I'm not telling you my personal opinion.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no.
Just like you're not telling me your personal opinion.
100 people surveyed.
I think the general consensus is Georgia's still not that good. I think Georgia got a good win against Tennessee, but I think people walked away from that game going, yeah, but did you see how easily Tennessee was able to score the football? Yeah, but did you see Tennessee really should have won that game? Yeah, but did you see? Yeah, but did you see? I think there's still a big narrative out there that Georgia's not that good. And yes, Alabama has a bad loss, an ugly-looking loss.
Ugly.
But all of a sudden, Florida State's getting all the credit in the world for being,
which, by the way,
a juggernaut of college football.
Temper that down. Temper that down.
But that's the general public's consensus. I think if you were to poll 100 people on a neutral site, Clint, I think you're getting over 50% votes for Alabama.
Okay, that just tells me that fine. Maybe the people I'm talking to just actually watch games. Maybe that's the people I'm talking to.
Well, because they're not members of the College Football Playoff Committee, I'll tell you that then.
Nor are they employed by ESPN. I refuse to talk to those hacks. No. Because there's a couple of key distinctions where we might be similar, but there's two major points where Georgia and Alabama are not even in the same stratosphere. Similar to each other.
Interesting. Let's talk about that a little bit more right after these.
Hey, look, if you're old and you like things that look awesome, well,
go on.
Lean in, Daniel.
You have my attention.
Because college football fans, get back into what that retro awesome feel is like with the game caps. They're fantastic. They're great. They're killer. And even if you're not old and you like good-looking things, and these are it.
These hats
Same
are freaking awesome, y'all.
They're so
That's just it.
good.
Period.
Like many of you have reached out to us over on X and said, where can we get them? We tell you right here, The Game Cap. Go right now, thegamecaps.com. Use our promo code Locked On. Get you a vintage hats for $16.99. Grab your team classic bar retro circle design. Use promo
That's
code
cheaper
Locked
than
On.
a combo at Zaxby's, Clint.
Wow.
You understand what I'm trying to tell you right now?
I understand. You can't wear Texas toast. Locked On for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game. As we
Clint had me on that ad read until he lied right at the end. So I don't know.
As we pontificate if you can or cannot wear Texas toast.
Yeah.
Daniel, we said beginning, hey, many people think that Alabama and Georgia are neck and neck in this power rankings of what they could be.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree violently.
I feel like we're on opposite sides here. We're going to come back in the third segment and talk about, regardless of where you land on this, why there is something about this game that is so important. But regardless of where you land, I'm going to give you my thoughts, and then I welcome your disagreement. We'll try to come to a consensus. I think I look at these Alabama and Georgia teams, particularly in the last couple of weeks, and I see a lot of similarities, to be honest with you. I see a quarterback that is generally thought to be subpar that actually I think is pretty good. Okay? That's a similarity between this Alabama team and this Georgia team.
You will not catch us talking down about Ty Simpson. That is a massive improvement from last year.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to talk about some of his weaknesses as we move on through the week, which I think Georgia hopefully can exploit. But Ty Simpson, I think,
good quarterback,
just like Gunnar Stockton, is better than people are giving him credit for. I'll say that. I see wide receivers that are, and I'm not talking about Ryan Williams, I'm talking about Jeremy Bernard, the best wide receiver on Alabama's team. I see wide receivers that are studs on both of these rosters. I see defenses that I thought were going to be elite that I have a lot of questions about. Like, I'm talking about a lot of questions about both of these defenses. Did you see Wisconsin scored 14 points against Alabama at Alabama? They couldn't sniff the end zone against Maryland. This Wisconsin offense is quite bad.
Real bad. This is wild to me.
Not only did FSU run all over them.
Okay.
I've got big questions about the Alabama defense. And I thought the Alabama defense was going to be the star of the show this year. I thought the Alabama defense was going to be really good. I've got questions about them. I'm not saying that I think the Alabama defense and the Georgia defense are the same, but Clint, it's fair to say we thought the Georgia defense was going to be the star of the show. And right now, today, the Georgia offense might be better than the Georgia defense. I don't think that's crazy.
They have performed better.
I don't think it's crazy.
It's not crazy.
So I see a lot of similarities between these two teams. And at the end of the day, yes, you are who you show me that you are.
Okay.
Right? But you're not who you are on your worst day. So Clemson has now showed us who they are, right? You don't get, right? They've got 4 chances. They were down 17-3 at halftime against Troy.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to a mediocre LSU team, maybe the 8th best team in the SEC, LSU. They lost to Georgia Tech. They lost to Syracuse. You've showed me who you are, right? Alabama, on the other hand, lost on the road to a team that they were definitely taking lightly in week 1 in Florida State. And since then, they haven't given you any reason to think that they're not who you thought they would be coming into the season, and who we both thought they would be was a really good football team. I'm going to default back to
it's wild
what it looked like, what it says, like what it says that it's this. So yes, did they have a really bad game? They did. Maybe that's indicative of who they are, or maybe it was just a really bad game and they got caught in a really bad spot, and that was it. And Alabama still is who we thought they were going to be, and who we thought they were going to be was a team right on par with Georgia this year. That's still where I'm putting them. Georgia hasn't given me any reason to say, oh, no, this Georgia team is otherworldly. They're way better than every other team in the country. Georgia hasn't given me a reason to say that. We got good wins. We eked by at Tennessee. And Alabama hasn't really given me a reason to be like, oh, Alabama has fallen off a cliff. They're not who I thought they were. And so I've got them where I had them, which was pretty even.
This is wild to me. Daniel, I just have a simple question for you. And
sure.
Maybe I'm trying to oversimplify a lot.
Sorry, I'm talking to a friend over here, but I'll get to your question in just 1 second.
I'll let you talk to your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what percentage of the time that an offense opposing Alabama gets into the red zone? And
I don't.
Offensive opponent that gets into the red zone, what percentage they score?
Oh, got it. Okay. No, I do not.
I'm not. Every single time an offense has gotten into the red zone against Alabama's defense, they have scored. It's 100%.
Yikes. That feels high.
If I can again simplify football down for you. That's not good. Like that's really, really, really bad. What that tells me is when you get in the red zone and you shrink things down, tighter windows, play calling gets a little bit tighter in there. You can't have your whole playbook open. It really comes down to execution, and it really comes down to coaching a great deal, and players. When you get in the red zone, if you're giving up 100% of the time they're scoring, you're not getting any stops, you're not getting any takeaways, you're not like nothing. Daniel, that's real bad.
It's not good.
Like that. Georgia, conversely, the amount of times that red zone scoring happens on Georgia, 75% of the time, 26th in the nation on that one. It's not 100% of the time. Look, Alabama does have some good metrics. The yards per game given up on the defense, they're number 7 in the nation against that. Points per play, this is interesting to me. Alabama's 25th. Georgia is 73rd in that ranking. That's really interesting. Third down conversions. This is wild. Third down conversions against Alabama's defense. Offenses are converting 46% of the time. 46. Okay. Conversely, Georgia only 30% of the time on third down. Alabama's defense, I think that's indication. Red zone, third down. If you ask Kirby Smart, he's going to talk about third down. He's going to talk about rushing against, and third down. Those are the big stats he goes to. If I go to those big stats for Alabama, rushing 4, we're going to talk about the offense here in a second. Not great. Rushing against, not great. Third down, not great. So by Kirby Smart's metrics, it just feels, that's wild to me that you would say that. Now, everything else on the offensive side, a quarterback who should be thought of much better than he is. Yes. Wide receivers that are much better than there. Yes. I think the differences then comes down to the defense. We have a couple of notable differences, and it's striking to me. I think what this is indicating to me, Daniel, is, and by the way, come back Thursday where Daniel and I give our prediction for this game, and Friday when we talk about certain, there was a reason this was one of the 3 games that we were most nervous about the entire preseason, because you might not like my prediction. I'm saying all this now, but you might not like my prediction for this game, what I have today, because this is a good team. Alabama, I was starting off by saying, I don't think they're as good or as close, but this is still a good team that if Kalen DeBoer stops being an idiot, they're more dangerous. That's terrifying to me, because he's been an idiot so far this year. Well,
it should be terrifying to you that then in their only head-to-head meeting, Kalen DeBoer coached circles around Kirby Smart last year.
Yep.
You can say whatever you want, Georgia fans, about that, but we all know that it's true. So, 100%. Would I trade Kirby Smart for Kalen DeBoer? No. Would I be sad that Dan Lanning flat out rejected me if I was an Alabama fan and I had to settle for Kalen DeBoer? Absolutely, I would.
Didn't happen. It was our first choice.
But Kalen DeBoer absolutely outcoached Kirby Smart in their only head-to-head meeting. We're coming back in the third segment, and we're going to talk to you about the one thing that is not factored into any of these conversations, and probably the most important difference between Alabama and Georgia on Saturday night, right after these.
These are, in fact, FanDuel. NFL season is here. FanDuel making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, customers just get $5 bet down. If your bet wins, $300 in bonus bets to use straight across the app. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup or watching Jordan Davis rumble down the field for a touchdown after he blocks a kick. FanDuel is fantastic.
He's too fat to play in the NFL, Clint.
He doesn't have cardio, is what I was told.
Well,
ready to play? Download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. The FanDuel.com is the place with your first $5 bet, but that's not it. We also have Square. Daniel, right now, everything is local and everything's good. Fall is coming out, and we want to support those who we are local around the neighborhood spots that run on Square. Look, neighborhood businesses make our neighborhoods feel like home. These are places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. It's the kind of place where you want to walk in and you know every single person that's there, and you start talking like your family, and you've been being served by them forever and ever, your entire life. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. This is an interesting matchup. As we've already said, these teams are similar. They're closer. The talent is there. The two most talented teams in the nation, and I'll fight anybody on this, are playing together in Athens this Saturday. You
mean Penn State and Oregon? Is that the two teams that you're referencing?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're
nowhere near what I ever say.
Interesting.
Okay, that's wild. The place in which most NFL scouts will salivate over is this game in Athens against Alabama on Saturday, Daniel.
Yeah.
Talent abounds.
And so here's the thing. I think these two teams are pretty similar in terms of their overall. They're obviously not similar in their win-loss record. They're not similar in terms of the quality of their wins. As we mentioned, Alabama's best win is a home win over Wisconsin. And Georgia's best win is a road win over Tennessee, who looks like a college football playoff team. By the way, Tennessee kicked the crap out of Syracuse in week 1. I don't know if I need to remind you of that.
Oh, no.
How's Syracuse doing? Oh, but that's their only loss on the year. Fran Brown and whoops. By the way, when are we going to stop? When are we going to adjust the polls based on how good the wins look now? We vault these teams up there like LSU. But someone explain to me what LSU has done. Because based on my math, what they've done is they beat Florida by 10 points. Florida, who's very bad.
Historically, categorically bad.
And they beat Clemson, who's way worse than Florida. Way worse than Florida.
Not even a question, really.
Florida would beat Clemson 100-0. I'm just joking. It's impossible for them to score that many points. All right. The big difference between these two teams, Clint, and I think the most important factor in this game on Saturday is exactly what made the Tennessee game so tough for Georgia. Okay. And that is home field advantage. These are not, even if you think these are two evenly matched teams, they are not meeting up on a neutral site. This is not a semifinal game in the Orange Bowl or whatever. This is a home game at night in Athens, a place where Georgia has won 33 consecutive games.
Yep.
They haven't lost in over 5 years of football. So These two teams are not evenly matched.
Nope.
There is a decided advantage to Georgia and against Alabama based on the atmosphere and the electricity that will be present in the stadium on Saturday, Clint. It cannot be overstated how important it is that Georgia gets this game at home.
This is, I cannot stress this enough, giant. This was the definitive point last year. We had to weather the storm of Jalen Milroe going outside, in which our defense didn't understand that running outside of the hashes was allowed. That was.
Can we please never talk about the 2024 Georgia defense again?
I
cannot.
This year, when you talk about this game, and I'm looking at stats abound, I'm looking at defensive metrics, I'm looking at for adjusted defenses, I'm looking for run. There is so much to be similar about these two teams. And I think, again, going back to what I said, I think Georgia has the upper hand in a lot of regard because of the coaching on aggregate. But just on itself, this is a very close matchup. The 3.5 points that Georgia is favored right now, that's 1.5. What Vegas is saying is 1 point. Georgia's 1 point better than Bama because 2.5 to 3 is that home field. And being in Athens, not having to travel, having a bye week, coming off the bye week, all of that is insurmountable. I cannot describe to you the upper hand that gives a team. Everything abounds for Georgia. Slants, tilts in that regard. Because when it's so microscopic, when you get rolling at home and a false start penalty, which Georgia didn't have any at Tennessee, comes
back-to-back seasons playing in Neyland Stadium with no false start penalties.
When you have a hostile environment that Athens is, things can snowball in a hurry. A pick, a fumble, a bad punt, a punt return, and all of a sudden the field gets flipped and you score twice instead of once in a quarter. Changes the narrative of the game. And so by metrics and everything we're talking about, this game could be, I'm not projecting this, but it could be a 14-point win for Georgia, and it will hinge on 4 plays being the decided factor. And those 4 plays, 3 of them will because you're at home, feeling good, have the crowd behind you, have the noise behind you. Like, that's how big, and which is why it was even such a bigger deal that Georgia went on the road at Neyland and won. It cannot be laughed at. Like, this is, especially in college, NFL, whatever. I don't care. Home, away, it doesn't matter. There's no fans are in the NFL. You guys are college. It matters such a great deal, especially for these young men, especially for the players. That is what gives me the most confidence. Bye week at home, Bama traveling after a couple of out of the gates start that wasn't so great.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you look at that last point, maybe to go back to my original statement, you brought it up, but I forgot to mention it early in the episode. I mean, you look at this Vegas number. I think this is like it's the longest home winning streak in the country. So usually home field advantage is like between 2 to 3 points. You'd be hard pressed to convince me that Sanford Stadium's not a 3-point home field advantage because A, it's one of the loudest stadiums in the country, and B, it is certainly the stadium in the country where the home team has had the most success. So if you're talking about a 3-point home field advantage, that means Las Vegas literally thinks that these two teams are identical. They think they're dead even, 3.5-point spread as we sit here. And so the power ratings have got them even. The Las Vegas has got them even, which, by the way, that's how Vegas sets their numbers. They don't use rankings. They use power ratings. And so and Las Vegas generally pretty good about determining who's favored and who's not. I think these are two even teams. But if you're a Georgia fan, you've got to feel confident because you're the home team. We thought we were much better than Tennessee. That's why we were confident going into Neyland Stadium. I don't know that we were right. I don't know that we are much better than Tennessee. We squeaked out of there with a win. I think we're a little bit better than Tennessee.
Correct.
You better think Georgia is at least on par with Alabama to feel good as a Georgia fan, because home field should be enough to get you over the hump. He is Clint. I am Daniel. It's going to be a busy week here on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Let me tell you this. If you're not subscribed to the audio, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube, you're going to want to get on there. We're going to have evening episodes. We're going to have morning episodes. We are going to be with you a lot this week. So make sure that you are tuned in to all of it, and we will see you guys next time.
See you.